Hello, and thank you for watching and listening to the Wine-Centric Show, where we talk to the titans of the wine industry, but we make it simple, understandable, taste well for everybody, every level of wine drinker. Today, we have this amazing person. I am a huge sports fan, and a lot of amazing athletes are getting into making wine. So here we go, starting at 6'11", out of Arizona, playing president for the Chosen Family Wines, Mr. Channing Frye.
Oh, thank you. First of all, I'm not a Titan. You've had Jeremy on here. You've had some monsters on here. So I'm just, I'm not a rookie anymore, but I'm not I'm a budding all-star. How about that? Budding all-star.
All
I'm
right.
not a Titan. Yeah.
And I mean, stature-wise, you are 6'11". I don't know. Sometimes it says 6'11/7 feet, but,
Yeah, well, the heavier I get, the more gravity takes effect. So when I'm in great shape, I'm elongated, yoga. I got to get my flexibility up.
Channing, I don't mean to start this on a low note.
No, please.
However, I have to imagine a 2005 Elite Eight loss to Illinois maybe led you to drinking?
No, I was already drinking, but I was college drinking crazy beers and dirty vodka drinks. That was awful. That was awful to see. It was like, you're on the tracks of a train and your foot is stuck and you're just like, just undo your foot. And it just, have you ever seen Cliffhanger where he's holding on? That's how I felt that game. It was like, just hold on. Ah! But I ended up playing with Darren Williams, knowing D Brown. That team was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we just, it was a great life lesson, right? Is one, don't ever take your foot off the pedal when you're up 18 to 20, or just in life. And number two, do not think that at any moment to take your competitors' fire for granted, right? Like, I think at some point we're like, oh, we got them beat. And I was like, no, we can't think like that. I was like, don't do that. And the minute that we thought we had them beat, they got a little momentum, and it was hard for us to turn it back on.
Yeah.
We started playing not to lose instead of to win. And
Man,
was great.
I can only relate to my Hebrew high school playoffs when we were up 16 with 4 minutes left. Those felt like the same stakes for me, but a very different level. Hey, we're talking basketball because, as we said, Channing played for Arizona. He played for 4 years. He was a first-round draft pick in the NBA to my beloved Knicks. And we'll get more into that later. But now you are the president of Chosen Family Wines, this amazing winery that's coming out of Willamette Valley. I want to do, since I did it with Jeremy, and that's how we connected, is I want to play this same brain teaser game with you. So you choose 3 of your favorite wines that are out of Chosen right now. And it doesn't have to be like your all-time favorites, just maybe 3 that are on your mind. I know you can't, like, you got 4 kids, so you can't play favorites, right?
So I can play favorites, especially today, man. Listen, I got a favorite. My third one, she's my favorite today.
Okay.
She doesn't argue. She doesn't listen. She makes her bed up every day. She eats exactly what I tell her to do. If I say, hey, brush your teeth for 2 minutes, she does that. The rest of them are some heathens. I'll take my little librarian today.
And she wins. She's 12?
No, she's 8. She's 8.
Oh, she's 8. Oh, yeah.
She sleeps in a sleeping bag because she doesn't want to mess up her bed. So she stuffs her sleeping bag with those stuffies and brings it down. She's this cute little glasses wearing tiny little thing. But okay, 3 wines.
Yeah. By the way, when we're offline, you got to give me some of those tips for my 8.5-year-old, because he's basically.
With the boy, you have no chance. He can tear your house up. No. Hey, listen, girls and boys, we got to tear that house up. Done.
That's right.
Put money extra there for blinds, windows, bed frames. Done.
You just. Yeah, it's a whole other bank account for damages. All right, yeah. So choose 3 wines, however you want to rank them, and compare them to NBA players.
So I would go, obviously, our cab. We have a Howell Mountain cab. The winemakers that make it are the same winemakers from Nickel and Nickel, and they have their own project called Salty Goats. These dudes make crazy good wine, young good wines. But the thing about our cab is, it's an ode to the old school, like the old school way of making it with a fresh version. So to me, that's Lebron. So it's an ode to like the wines that we came up with, or the wines that we used to drink that were like, oh man, I remember when, Nickel and Nickel first came out, or I remember when these first came out. But for us, we really feel like Howell Mountain gets that real taste of Napa for us. And that's our style and that's our likeness. We still like the Valley Floor, but we feel like Howell Mountain there, that high elevation, is what we like. So it's also our most ageable wine.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's
LeBron.
the LeBron factor right there.
That would be LeBron.
Just to unpack that for a second, what you said, for people, if you're wondering, what does that mean, Howell Mountain? Howell Mountain is a specific place in Napa Valley that, like Channing was saying, is higher elevation than what you would typically see for the Napa Valley floor. Thus, you don't get so high in alcohol. It's cooler. It's a little bit more elegant and can be more astringent and needs more aging.
Yeah, dude, it is. But for us, one thing that when we started this, Kevin and I and the rest of the team were like, we don't waver from our mission to make things as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
Right. And so we wanted to be, we obviously drink a lot of old world stuff, but for us, we want less hands on it. So like, imagine if we could take it from the ground, squeeze it, put it in a bottle, or put it in a barrel and put it in a bottle, and nobody touches it. That would be our goal. And so less is more with us, so that you can actually get that taste of why we like it, and see
I love
the
it.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah. And I tasted that in the wines. Actually, before you even get on to your next one, that brings me a top of mind question. You had sent me this amazing 2023 reserve Chard here, Chosen Family, which was delicious. It definitely, all your wines across the board made me think Old World, which for me was like, okay, first of all, it was a point of validity because it's like, you're not just going for power and alcohol.
No,
it's like you got some serious chops. But the immediate question I had for it was that, did that go through Mallet?
Nerd alert clarification. Old world versus new world on a very general level. It used to be that old world wines tasted more of place, spice, and savory notes. And new world wines, meaning everything outside Europe, were more focused on fruit and sunshine. Please note, this is an extreme generalization. Then malo or malolactic fermentation, converting malic acid into lactic acid. To simplify, think about it. When a wine goes through malo, it starts out as black coffee, and then you naturally add creamer to it. That's malolactic fermentation.
Yeah.
Okay. Because like that was just like lean and mean Chardonnay. It was cool.
Yeah. The winemaker we have, man, is a absolute gorilla. And we've fallen in love with all his wines a long time ago. And just each year, not only is he working with us to like make sure that Chosen tastes like Chosen, but that we're starting to, I would say evolve our palate. Mm-hmm. And lucky for us, it's like, dude, just go to work. Like, go to work. Here's what our choices are. Here's what vineyards we work with. Can we get something with a little bit more elevation? How do we get more acidity? How do we create more freshness? And certain wines, like the white label behind you, is, between $28 and $34, depending on the year, right? And that wine is a little bit more simplistic for your daily, what I like to say, the porch pounder. You're making spaghetti, you open up, you drink the bottle, you're like, oh, I didn't even know I drank. You don't feel bad. That bottle you have there is like where somebody's like, well, I like Chardonnay, I like Oregon Pinot Noir, but I don't want to pay, I don't feel comfortable paying $100, $120 for some really good Chardonnay. So I think that's around like 50 to 60, maybe.
Yeah. And so play the game with me on that one, because I have some ideas. Who would you compare that 2023 Reserve Chardonnay to?
To be honest, it would be Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
Okay, here's why. I remember watching this young man play when he was younger for the Clippers, and I said, hey, he's different. So each year we do the reserve is each year that we're learning and growing and evolving, but each year that you hold it, it keeps getting better. And you go, wow, I didn't know. I didn't appreciate the simplicity of it. I didn't appreciate like how strong that it's getting, like how much more that it's kind of refocusing in on itself. When wine is done well, each year you're going to get a different story. And so that's what I appreciate about it. Now, some years may be better than others, but this year, I think, if you were to start our first year, 21 reserve, the that's an MVP wine. I had it the other night. It was kind of crazy. Now we sold out of that, so luckily owners can get stuff that's sold out. But for us, it's just each year, especially with Shea, he just keeps getting stronger in the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Which makes him almost impossible to guard. Because you're like, oh, you want me to go left? I can go left. You like freshness? We got that. You like old world Burgundy style? We got that. You like high elevation? We got that. You got ageability? We got that. So that's where I would say our Chardonnay is Shea Gildas-Alexander.
I have to interject because I was thinking Great White Hope, Larry Bird.
Oh, I didn't know we had to do old school guys. Okay.
Yeah, wherever you want to pull. Wherever you want to pull. You know, powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Shows great promise, gritty, the whole thing.
Sure, yeah. Dude, the texture on those Reserve, it's nice because obviously we do everything blind tasting and as a group, and we got to go what goes in the white label, what goes in the Reserve, what goes into Kevin and Channing's special selection. You know, we have some other things coming out, some other different single vineyards, just stuff where people can get excited when they get a box from Chosen, but they go, well, I didn't know what whole cluster tastes different than, you know, de-stem stuff. So for me, it's been fun to like be able to pick and say, okay, 100 cases of this for our members, or this is super ageable Pinot that I want to only put out. That's when we get the Channing and Kevin, and it's awesome. It's fun. It's just awesome.
Kevin is Kevin Love, of course, your teammate and partner in this, and wonderful NBA basketball player, perhaps future Hall of Famer. And then the other thing you said, which I think it's such an important thing, especially when it comes to Pinot, you talked about stemming and de-stemming. So obviously grapes come on what's called whole clusters. Anybody that's ever eaten store-bought grapes or whatever, they come on their stems. And sometimes in wine, we use those in the actual wine to add either tannin, freshness, grip, acidity, structure, all those types of things. So,
man, there's a big difference. There's a huge difference in taste. And, you know, obviously most people kind of do a blend, right? There's some tanks of this, some of that, whatever. But for us, I think we obviously do a blend, but I want to do, and we are 100% whole cluster. I think people are going to like how that starts to be a little bit more green, depending on the year. Those stems actually lend itself to be, like I try to talk to people in colors, right? Certain years are very red, certain years are very brown, certain years are very green, you know, especially with Pinot. And then once you get a nice collage, that means the wine is great. Right. It's like, oh, look at this cherry. Oh, it's kind of river rocky. You know what I mean? Like, and then, oh my goodness, what is this leafy green type of thing going in there? And so for me, it's easier to talk to people in colors than to use like specific examples of food, right? Because I'm from Arizona, and this is one thing that I try to tell people. I'm from Arizona. So like, I can't remember the first time I had a piece of salmon. You don't eat, like back in the day, I wasn't eating salmon. I was eating Mexican food. You know, my parents were cooking. They're from Brooklyn, New York, right? So, you know, obviously in their education when it came to wine wasn't the greatest. So it was steak and big wine. That's it, you know? And, you know, I try to tell people there is a wine for every cuisine. This is a fact. So you don't have to just go by. It's fun to try new things. I'm a big popcorn and Riesling guy. I'm a big pepperoni and Pinot guy. Like, and people go, what? And I'm like, yes, try it. It's so good. And if you don't like it, okay, my bad. I like it. You go find something you do like.
Man, popcorn and wine. Popcorn is the ultimate wine pairing food. If in your next venture, when you're ready for your next business, if you ever want to start a popcorn company with me, I'm in. You let me know.
Dude, I am a popcorn fiend. I have to like keep it away. It's just, popcorn is so good.
This is not a sponsored segment, but it could be. Have you tried popcorners? The chips that are made, but they're like popcorn, but they're in chips?
No.
Bro.
Send me a link. I'm going to hit that Amazon.
Yep. It's next level. Because then you get even the more, like but you get the crunchiness too. And it's just like the ultimate wine pairing.
Dude,
all right.
Yes. Send it to me.
I will, for sure. How involved, it sounds like you're very involved. How involved are you in the winemaking process?
The winemaking process is part of, I would say.
Like, when are you there as opposed to, are you there in blends? Are you there when during harvest, or all of the above sometimes when you can?
I would say when I can, I'm involved almost 100% of the time. So
Okay.
but I also allow our winemaker to have space. And there are certain things like, this year's been a little different. My family's getting older. So I have 4 kids that play 5 sports. So I know it's a lot. My Saturday, I was in the gym for volleyball from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So I was like, dude, where's my day? But anyways, yes.
So
So
posted up by the way, like, do you bring your laptop for like halftime and like?
No, I have my phone, but dude, I'm on my phone. And what's crazy is I'm on my phone watching my other children play sports as I'm watching a kid play sports. But yeah, no. I think the communication has been amazing. And so each year, for us, I'm doing something different. So I'm learning the business. I'm learning the winemaking process. Next year, because I'm not going to be working at NBA TV, we'll be even more diving into that winemaking process with our winemaker and making sure that I'm out there more. This year has just been my, senior year of doing TV in Atlanta, right, where I fly every week. Yeah, trust me. So for me, it's been, dude, yes, involved in every part. Yeah, especially the blendings, especially like which vineyards, how much, what should we pick fruit, how much should we cut, what are we trying to do, what happened this year. So that's just learning. And here's the truth. I don't want to cut corners there's ways you can cut corners and make wine, which I don't disagree with. That's just not Chosen's ethos, right?
Right.
But I also don't want to just go spend millions of dollars on a winery and make some shit up. So for me, I would love, and the reason why we work with our winemaker and people say, why don't you have your own vineyard? When we started in 2020, I wanted to make sure I knew exactly where I wanted to make this wine. Where, I was a rookie in this industry. So for me, I didn't want to just go jump on this place because somebody else had it. I want to make sure I know and our owners know that we are putting our feet in the ground. We're someplace where we know the juice is going to be good for the next 20, 50, 90, 1,000 years. And there's still so many places in the Willamette Valley like that I could be patient. We could be patient. I'm figuring out, I do like blends, right? I love Dundee Hills for what it is, but I do like mixing that with Chehalem Mountain or Eola Amity. Mm-hmm. I love Eola Amity Chardonnay, but some years Dundee Hills or, Guillen Hill County or Ribbon Ridge juice is just absolutely crazy. So, and I'm just naming little pockets of the Willamette Valley for people not listening. Yeah. So for me, I wanted to make sure that the decision that we make as Chosen is based on information that we have gathered as a group. And we go, okay, do we want 6 acres? Do we want 60? Do we want 16? Like all these things matter because once we do it, we're in that ground and then we're going to make the best wine from that area and probably still do some blends from other places. But that was our thinking from Chosen.
So if I'm hearing that right, you are going to eventually buy vineyards.
Hell yes.
Okay.
Hell yes.
Because your boy CJ jumped right in, man. Yeah. CJ McCollum, current NBA player, and bought 300 acres.
Yeah, I think he has 96 plantable right now. And yeah, no, I'm everybody's thing is, everybody goes into something different. Imagine wine is painting. And everyone's going to look at this painting from different angles. And because I'm retired, I wanted to go out and bring people back in. In this industry, especially in the Willamette Valley, we've been struggling because of tourism. So tourism isn't booming. Nobody's coming to these vineyards, and these vineyards are making amazing wine. If there's no great hotels to stay in Newburgh or Dayton or McMinnville, nobody's going to come. So how do you get people to buy into the Willamette Valley if you don't reach out and go get them and bring them back? And that's what we've been trying to do at Chosen is use our marketing to promote not only Willamette Valley, but Chosen to places that may only be drinking Mayo. Now, I'm not knock Mayomi, but that's not real.
That's okay. You can knock it. That's fine.
Okay, it's not real juice. It's not real wine. And they're like, well, I get headaches. Well, you're drinking prune juice.
Yeah.
With alcohol in it. Give the little guy a chance. You're going to really appreciate it. People are doing some amazing things in the valley.
Are you saying that Willamette Valley tourism is struggling?
It is not where it should be for the wine that we're producing world-class wines, and people from around the world acknowledge that. To me, the Willamette Valley needs more attention in a way that farmers and agriculture and winemakers appreciate, but also tourism and tourists appreciate. And right now there's kind of like trying to figure that out. Like
I'm surprised by that because in my day job, I sell wine for a distributor, and you put Willamette Valley on a Pinot, already it's got street cred, quote unquote street cred. If you can afford Willamette Valley Pinot by the glass, it moves. And then Portland, like its restaurant scene, which is only less than a 30-minute drive, depending on what vineyard you're going to.
Yeah. 42.
40. Okay. Is right there. So it's like that's surprising to hear, but
it is. People are spoiled. Man, listen, I'd be like, hey, guys, come to, we're doing a pop-up in the valley. Well, there's no real for real to stay, or it's long ways. And it's just not, they just don't, I don't know if people take it, older people don't take it for granted. I think the younger crowd's like, why would I drive 46 minutes to go drink and then have to drive another 46 minutes when I can go get your wine at a wine bar? Yeah. Right? So there's a disconnect. Also, like, and I'm not going to I'll use Napa as an example. When you go to Napa, there's unbelievable Michelin restaurants. There's crazy hotel options. It is a come here, stay here, spend money. There's car tours, all this within a 30, 40 mile radius.
Yeah.
Right? Probably smaller than that. In Willamette Valley, there's the Allison, and then you got to drive another hour to get to, places in Dayton or McMinnville, but they're still not, you go there and you're like, where's the really nice restaurants? Where's the cool bar? Wine has to be wine and something else unless you're going to Burgundy. But even Burgundy has good places to eat. So it's like, right. I mean, exactly. Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I'm thinking about it from like the insider's perspective and thinking like, I love Willamette as it is because it's still rustic and it doesn't have all that pomp and circumstance and the Disneyification that Napa Valley does. But at the same time, as a business owner, then you're like, well, but that comes with its whole other set of problems, right? Because then you get tourists and like you have to handle it, and then already outside investment like the Jackson family and whatnot have come into Willamette Valley. So you as a business owner trying to go buy vineyards eventually, I mean, your price is going to go up the more that happens. Now, if you get in before
the
that,
price of the bottle's already going up, and obviously people who have their own vineyards may have their own opinion about this, but it is a necessary evil at some point. If you want to sell a $75 bottle of wine consistently, you need tourism to come in. You need your place to be packed where it's appointment only, right? It's just, the wine is too good. People are doing so many amazing things, and you're seeing turnover because what's happening is places with bigger money are able to sit on these places, right? France has already been in Oregon crazy for many years.
Yeah.
Right.
Dominique
Italy's now come over. California, Jackson family. The secret isn't already out. It's just a matter of like, how does the small guy compete with that? And that's getting tourism. How do we get people here to join your membership, to see the vineyard? But you got to have nice places for people to stay.
Yeah. Well, here's where I have the idea for you, man.
Yeah,
I got it. All right. And then this is where I should plug my my buddy from college has an awesome Airbnb somewhere in the valley. DM me for more news on that. But I got it, man.
Yeah.
Bring a Legends in Wine basketball game yearly to the valley. Like, you got Carmelo, you got Dwayne Wade. I don't know if LeBron's making wine yet, but he loves wine.
No.
And then CJ. Oh,
played for the Lakers. Tony Parker makes his own wine.
I'm sure.
Paul's investor with Lafette.
Yeah.
So there you go. What else am I thinking? I'm missing somebody. Football players. There's a lot more football players than there are basketball players.
Really?
What? Dan Marino, Drew Bledsoe, John Elway. You have, who's my guy? Intercept Wines.
Charles Woodson.
You have Rice from Dossier Wines up in Seattle from Walla Walla.
Well, it could be an all athletes game then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go. Soccer players are getting into it. It's, what's crazy? It's just, we get attention. Athletes get attention for opening wine, but everybody there are new winemakers, new wine projects going up all the time. It's just, we just get more marketing than other people. It's fair, but unfair,
The thing is especially from what I've tasted and the people like yourself that I met, you guys aren't just like, no offense to John Elway, I think he's a great, but I don't think he's making, from what I've seen, I don't think he's making serious wine. He's making
distribution wine. That was his business model, right? He's making wine for the masses, right? So it is
slap a name on it. Don't care where the juice comes from. It like, fine, good for you, but you know, you could easily just open car dealerships, right?
True, but you can't drink a car dealership.
No, you can't. But he doesn't drink. I doubt John Elway, if he likes wine, is drinking his own stuff. Let's be fair.
You never know, man. Listen, I know guys who got, Latour back there drinking $22 Chuck. So you never know.
Maybe you're right. But what I'm saying is that the NBA especially, and some of the people you mentioned there have, like, they're making serious wine. And like you're saying, you're not just trying to go in there and slap a label on some juice, some bulk juice. You're doing this with intention. You're really trying to make wine. So first of all, how did you get into wine?
I mean, kind of like everyone else, you like to get drunk on wine, and you go to a vineyard and you realize how effing awesome they are. And so you just start going down the rabbit hole. So I'd never seen a vineyard, and I tell a story all the time, and I blame my wife for my wine cellar now. I said, it's all your fault. So I met her the first day I moved here. Obviously, we've been married 16, 17 years. I can't remember. It's a long time. And she took me to a vineyard, and I was like, hold up, what is this? Like, it is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. And I sit here and somebody hands me a glass of wine, and then when I'm done, they hand me another one. Like, what is this heaven? And so then we started to go out more and more. I started to learn, started to taste a lot, in a good way. I started to do little classes, right? Like, hey, why does this taste like this? Or I remember Soder had this thing, I think it was called like not North Star, maybe North Star, but it was every single AVA they would make a bottle from. And so I remember just sitting there, opening all of them, trying to figure out what tastes like what do I like, what is this? And then over the years, it's just you go visit more and more places, you meet more winemakers, you meet more owners. And so for me, it became not just like, let's just go drink and, get drunk. It was drinking like, let's go to this new place because this winemaker who works over here is now doing this project, and I want to see what this tastes like, and how does this vary from this? And you start going down the rabbit hole, man. And, the big basketball story is this. I was on Orlando, and in Orlando, I was getting wine shipped to me, and I'm the oldest guy on the team. We're getting drubbed every night. So I would bring 2 bottles of wine with me, a wine case, maybe 4, and drink them on the plane. So I drank 1 or 2 bottles on the plane with my little seatmate, and we would sit and drink. And these young guys were like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm watching film, drinking wine. We don't play tonight. We play tomorrow. So I'm like, drink this, go to dinner, go to sleep, whatever. So they thought that was weird. I ended up getting traded to Cleveland that February. So I just took that with me. So these dudes are now older. So now I'm 33, but they're 32, 31, 36. They're all around the same age. They're like, you're not going to share? Yeah, listen, these are like nice $75, $100 bottles of Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Rosé, whatever. Rosé wasn't $100, unless it's a Bandol, but that's different. Neither here nor there. But they were like, well, come on, bring some wine. I go, listen, we're going to make a rule here. If I will bring 6 bottles, I'm going to bring 4 red, 2 white. I need you to try the white because you don't know what you're doing. You're bringing, because you were drinking that bullshit. So I was bringing great Chardonnays. I started eventually getting them into Sauv Blancs, but that was too much for their brain. So anyways, we start doing this. Well, those 6 bottles turned into 2 cases. So, now the coaches are back there like, hey, can we get a bottle of this, a bottle of that? Now the staff in the back was like, hey, can we get a bottle of this, a bottle of that? So each time people were bringing like a case or 2, and you would see what people started to like.
Yeah.
And that really got me excited. And now, like, Kevin was bringing monsters. Braun, monsters. Kyrie, monsters. Tristan Thompson, monsters. While me, I'm like, only Northwest, right? So I'm bringing wines from Walla Walla. I'm bringing, like, Force Majeure. I'm bringing, like, Abeja. I'm bringing, Long Shadows, all these things. And Oregon wineries can go on and on. But they were like, what is this? Oh, I want to be a member of this, or how do I get some of that? And so that's kind of how that started. And when I said I was going to retire, Kevin and I had a conversation. I was like, dude, it's got to be around wine. It's the thing that I feel like we can be connected. And it's, there's some other story to that, but it really was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I'm committed. And I think the reason why I don't want to just slap my name, image, and likeness, on a bottle is because I want to do this. I want my family to do this for a long time. Like I've seen my kids and they say things like, Dad, I didn't know that basketball players could own wineries and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, we could do whatever we want. Like expands their knowledge of like what can be done and what can't, right? Like Dad goes from being an NBA player to talking to people about wine, and for me, that inspiration in walking through a vineyard, I have pictures of my little girls walking through a vineyard, trying grapes, right? And obviously they were little girls at the time, and then just running and enjoying it and like having timeless memories. Or my son during harvest, I make him work a little bit and cleaning up glass or picking it. It's just these memories are important to me. And so that's why we're not just making 20,000 cases, 10,000 cases. I think for us, we'll have a real big conversation as an ownership group when we consistently can sell 5,000. Mm-hmm. I think between 5 and 10, there's a quality thing. How big is our vineyard? Do we really want that? Do we want to stay at 5? So like all these things we think about because we want to make sure that the quality of the wine is there and that we're still expressing our palate of like our enthusiasm and joy and love for the Willamette Valley and all these other little snippy wines to our members and people.
That's an interesting thing thinking about purchasing your own vineyards, because it's like for those of us who are maybe like of somewhat means and you think like I'm at the point in my life where I can afford a vacation home, and you're like, but if I buy a vacation home, then I'm going to spend every vacation there, or at least like to justify it. So if you buy your own vineyards, a lot of that, I'm going to go make a wine with him and I'm going to go make a wine with her. And I get to like taste the spice and the power of Dundee Hills and I don't know, you might lose some of that aspect.
So we already thought about that. So here's the thing. And that's why you stop at a certain amount, right? Mm-hmm. And so we would say, let's say we had 20 acres and that's about 2,500 cases. That would almost exclusively be members only, right? We would say this is for our members. Now, our blends, we can go source grapes from really good winemakers. There is always great bulk fruit, which people don't want to acknowledge, always great bulk fruit on the market that would make these blends great where we can scale. To break back the veil, most people do custom crushes. If you're making more than 10,000 cases, nobody has a Walmart size place to make wine. Maybe some of them do, and they're paid for by Galaxy or Constellation, right? So for us, we would custom crush that number. And that way, if that number grows, we still know the quality of it. And we still know who's making the wine in a safe space where we're not messing with the freshness or we're not cheating, right? But for us also, we'll never not do collabs.
Okay.
I just can't. I can't not do it. I think it's the funnest part about, I love being able to follow other people or say, what wines are hitting right now? Now, this next summer, not this summer, next summer, I'm for sure, maybe even in the winter, going to have to go out to the Finger Lakes. I want to go to Paso Robles. I really want to deep dive Walla Walla. I feel like I've said this before, but in our selection of wines, we have a Cab, we have a Syrah, we have, a Temperance Hill. So we have like some single vineyards. I think in between there, I really want to showcase a Red Mountain Cabernet. So I got to figure out how to get my hands on some fruit and who's going to make it, how much, what do we tell that story? But that's exciting. I like to go with our owners who are there and go visit it and learn and grow. And maybe we do a blend. Maybe we do a GSM. Maybe we do like a Left Bank Bordeaux blend, right? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And that's exciting. Also like California Sauv Blanc. It is pricey, but if you do it right or find the right person, that sucker hits every time. And so you see how I'm getting hype here, right? About all these little things, because people just assume this is supposed to taste like this, but we'll do the research for you and then only give you 100 cases. It doesn't take away from them. and then we get to tell their story every time you drink it.
Yeah.
I didn't know I like Fort Ross Seaview Pinot Noir. Dude, it's the best. It's the best, right? I didn't know I liked Owl Mountain Cab. I thought all cabs were supposed to be this 15% chocolate, chocolate bomb. Nah, homie. No, there's some structure in there. Syrah, I thought it was supposed to be 14.5 and it smelled like a barn. Guess what? Ours is 13.5. We got it made by a winemaker so that it's a little more approachable. It's my summertime fave, and keep that sucker in the fridge for about 30 minutes. Make it even better. See, it's getting me all hyped up early in the morning with no coffee.
That's what. Oh man, you should have coffee. That's your fault, not mine.
No, dude. I'm giving caffeine a break for a week, dude. I think I'll be getting the jitters.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try no caffeine for a week. I know I'm stupid, but you're like,
hey man, you got to try what you got to try. That you could have fooled me. One of the things I'm hearing there, not like your excitement on wine, but also you're a big Riesling fan. Talk about Riesling and popcorn, and you're talking about going to the Finger Lakes.
Yeah. I think for me, Riesling gets a bad rap, right? Obviously, because of Saint Michelle.
Yeah, and everybody thinks it's sweet.
Everyone thinks it's sweet. It is like the most peekaboo wine of all time. Because you may smell it, and you'll be like, what is that? Honeycomb, a little gasoline, a little this. And then you may taste it, and it might be flinty limestone deliciousness. And then and I wish I knew, and now here's my problem. I know the bottle. I know what it tasted like. I just don't remember the name. But I remember I had a sip of this, and I said, what was blessed by God to make this wine that good? Of everything you need.
Yeah.
Like, how is it a little salty? How is it but a little acidic? Like, how is it all these flavors where like your brain is trying to boom, 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 boom. Like, how is it like orangey, refreshing, like deliciousness, and you just want to like just guzzle it up? It is amazing. But yes, I do want to try the Finger Lakes.
They're making killer Riesling. I was going to say you also have great Riesling in Willamette Valley too.
Yeah, dude, I have a bunch of Riesling I have a fridge and in storage, and each year, halfway through the year, I'll like have a Riesling party. And we'll order big sushi. We'll have Riesling, champagne, and sushi. And dude, it's good. It's good when your friends are now up to game on what tastes good. So I'll open up like 6 or 7 different years, and we'll be like, we got to get another one of these, 2 of those. And the guy that I actually buy my wine from, that I'm building my locker, I'll be like, once a year, here's X amount of dollars. Send me 2 cases. 6 are drink now. 6 to 8 are wait a couple years. And these are wait till your whole head is gray. And they're going to be amazing. And it's the only way to learn. I could read all I want, but if I can't explain what the taste is or get excited about it, it's pointless.
Yeah, I love that. I wish more people would do that and just like give them to let people know their palate, give it to a professional and be like, here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Organize something for me.
Go to the local little guy, man, support the shit out of them. Just say, here's my budget for the year or month. Can I get a case?
Right. Mix match.
Can I get 2 bottles this month? And then next month I'll come back in. What are you looking for? What do you want to eat? What is this? Man, they're gonna hit you with Portuguese wines, Spanish wines, to what? Chilean wines. I had a South African wine the other day. It blew my mind. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
South Africa, I mean, Stellenbosch and all the outer areas are doing amazing things. By the way, I'll look for that invitation in the mail to that party you were talking about. So make sure you have my correct address. I want to say, for people listening and they're like, man, Riesling, whatever, I've tried, it's just sweet. Like, the reason that Riesling is sweet because it is so naturally high in acidity that it needs the sweetness to make a balanced wine. And at the end of the day, regardless of your bias and your own taste, when we can find a wine that is balanced, that is the North Star of quality, is finding balanced wine. So give Riesling a try. As far as your distribution model right now, you're only going direct to consumer, is that right? Or
no. So we have distribution in Oregon, and we just hired head of sales guy. Great, okay. Eric. So the things, we want to open up 5 states this year. We want to be real strategic about our states. So obviously, we're starting in Ohio. We're going to Ohio, Florida. We're in contact with people from South Carolina, North Carolina, Phoenix, where I'm from, Arizona. And then I think the last one might be like Nevada or Alabama.
Okay.
So when you get like one distributor might have a bunch of different states, but again, we only have 3,000 cases. So we have to be real strategic. But yeah, right now we ship, I think, to 39 states. I think the states that just don't buy wine, we don't ship to, like Utah. So, but other than that, yeah, I think for us, we get to see where a lot of people order from, and then we'll go do a dinner in your city. Like, yeah, that's our pleasure, right? Like I went to Alabama to go do an event, and I'm like, yo, we got to go back to Alabama. I know it's weird, but they drink. Yes.
What part?
Not Mobile. What's the other one?
Well, what I'm hearing is Huntsville is on the rise for like a great city to live in, good food and wine. And then there's Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham.
Yeah.
It was like a mini old school Portland.
Mm.
It was good. Everything's artisanal. They're keep it local. The wine menu, there's a great restaurant there with a great chef, and everyone was so nice. And like, I'm like, oh, I want to come back here. I never thought I'd ever say I want to go back to Alabama, but I was like, I like y'all. I like I could do this. I had a great breakfast. It was nutty.
The Southeast is where it's at as far as affordability and all like the education coming here, good chefs, great agriculture, especially where I live. So yeah, that's, I'm a New Yorker and I moved to North Carolina, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, Texas, you smart.
Kidding me? Texas is like insane. Talk to me about, you talked a little bit about how you helped burgeon or begin that culture in Cleveland. Where else do you think that wine infiltrated the NBA and it became a thing that wasn't just hoity-toity? It was actually something that people took seriously.
Yeah, and this is an honest truth. It was Greg Popovich.
Okay.
So when I started, and this is how serious I take it, is Greg Popovich was a part owner of Rex Hill here in Oregon.
That's right.
I think he may have sold his thing, but he still makes wine. Greg Popovich, he got the first 2 bottles that I ever created. And I said, hey, thank you for putting this culture into the NBA. There are huge articles about how Greg Popovich, whatever city he'd go to, he would send the restaurant guy a menu of, hey, go get these wines for me. They're at these places. Charge me whatever. I'm bringing my coaching staff to eat. And Greg Popovich had a rule, which I didn't know that it applied forever, because last summer we were at NBA Summer League with Richard Jefferson. Richard, myself, JJ, like all the coaches and, all of us that know each other, we're sitting, we eat, and we're looking around like, hey, where's the bill? They're like, nope, Greg Popovich got it.
Damn.
We're like, dude, what a dude. But he used to have, man, all the best wines for himself and his coaches. They would sit, drink, talk. And he's a Napa Valley guy, right? I think he's born and raised. But if he saw any of his players, he would send them wine. And so then their knowledge started to increase, because obviously he ain't drinking boo-boo stuff.
Yeah.
And then, they would go to a different team. And I think for us in NBA, wine is such a conduit for other conversations.
Yeah.
We're around each other 15 hours a day. It's a lot. And guess what? I probably don't even know. I wouldn't know your last name unless it was on the back of your jersey. Because we're dudes and we don't talk like that. But wine, we'll get somebody to go, oh, you been to this place in Napa? My buddy owns that. What? Oh, we should go. What's your wife's name? Like, I'm going here. Well, hey, let's do this. And then all of a sudden you become best friends. It's like, oh, Channing, tell me about this. Where'd you get this? Like, it's hard for dudes at that level, alpha males, to listen and be a point of information. And also, when you're competitive, you want to be right. So for me, it was like, if I'm going to bring Willamette Valley, I just can't bring expensive wine. I got to bring wines that I know. I got to tell the winemaker story. I got to tell the owner's story. And so it's been a joy to do that. And I think it's just like right now, obviously JJ Redick is a crazy wine dude. We saw Jimmy Butler's cellar, and that's poorly underrated for how much that's a $1 million cellar. Just the wine alone.
How's he going to move that when he gets traded?
No, he ain't moving that. That's in San Diego. So he's not going nowhere with that. Trust me. Like Kevin tells me a story, whenever they go out to dinner, it'll be 6 of them. And obviously they're a younger team. He said Jimmy used to bring wine. And Jimmy would bring, like it was nothing, like a 92 Petrus, 87 Petrus. And Kevin's like, hey, yeah, what? Who's drinking all this? It's just me and you. And he's like, I'll just keep it. It's just like, just keep it. 80-some Latours, obviously, like just all the laws, all the big French wine, Burgundy, DRC. Tobias Harris is big, TJ McConnell.
That's your cousin, by the way, right?
Yeah, yeah. He's big into wine. He's a great wine seller. Robin and Brooke Lopez actually have their own wine.
Well, that makes sense. They're from Northern California, so it's like
Clay has his own wine. I forgot about that. I think it's called Diamonds and Keys, because I think he's doing it with a baseball player. Rui Hachimura has his own wine. I think it's called Black Samurai.
Nice.
Who else is really good at wine? I know I'm missing somebody. Obviously, Carmelo, Chris Paul, D. Wade, Braun.
This is so cool. I love that you talked about the whole camaraderie around it. The whole identity of Chosen Family Wines is pretty cool, and like what you're trying to do in the wine industry. So talk a little bit about that.
I think for me, right, and it stems to where Chosen even came from. My parents died 1 month apart from each other, and I am a very energetic. I'm this, right? This is taking a lot to get back. A lot of therapy, a lot of friendship, a lot of people dragging me out of the house, taking me to dinners, going on walks, having a good glass of wine, having a good cry over that good glass of wine.
Yeah.
So for me, wine was always that thing in the middle that connected me to everyone else, even if I didn't know you. And this is why at Chosen, we love doing dinners. We like doing big table dinners where people can talk and you can learn and you can listen. And so at Chosen, we wanted to be and take advantage of our ability to share. The name Chosen Family comes from guys like Kevin and Richard and Braun and some other boys who I've known since college, really becoming my family and lifting me up. And so for us at Chosen, the minute you go out to dinner, the minute you go to somebody's house, or even if a friend comes over because you want to watch the Super Bowl, the minute you put that bottle of wine, it's the most unselfish thing, I think, unconsciously that we do when we go get a bottle of wine for somebody else. Because you're not thinking of what I like. You're thinking, what do they usually drink? What do they like? Well, you think, what's my budget? And are they going to guzzle this or are they going to appreciate it, right? But you're thinking about them. Yeah. Think about how much that process is. You think about their personality. You think about the situation. You're not thinking about yourself. And so for me, and us especially at Chosen, we value that space on your table, on your counter, in your fridge, hopefully not in your freezer, right? But
maybe if you forgot to chill it for a little bit.
Those are the things that matter to us, is like that connection. And especially so, we don't take for granted, because we started this during COVID, where there was no connection, there was no empathy. We want to always make sure that people are reminded about that. And hopefully we can be that thing in the middle of like, oh, what's this? Oh, I saw Channing on a Zoom call and I tried this wine and I like it. I didn't even know I like Chardonnay.
Man, I'd love to hear that expression more.
How we get them? Our rosé is 80-20 Chardonnay.
Oh, okay.
We pour the rosé. Don't tell anybody anything. Yeah. And then we pour the Chardonnay, and they're like, oh, no. We don't like, is that oaky? And we're like, oh, do you not like Chardonnay? They're like, no, it's disgusting. And they're like, oh, do you like the rosé? They're like, this is the best rosé I've ever had. And you go, well, read the back where it says ingredients. You do like Chardonnay. You do. You just don't like, and I said, hey, I have kids. Have you ever tried frozen grapes? They're delicious. Have you ever tried grapes in the microwave? They're too sweet, too jammy. And that is California versus Oregon.
That's a good analogy. I'm going to use that one, man.
Yeah, got to use it. It just condenses those flavors. It's a cold weather grape. Now, coastal California Chardonnay, I'm all for.
Totally.
That cool mist in the morning. Again, you got to think, vines are a weed. It's protecting its babies. So it's going to kind of condense those sugars in there. When things are too hot, it's too ripe, and it just starts to get jammy. How do you protect that? Put it in oak to protect some of those flavors. And that's where you get that oakiness. That's where you get that butteriness. Now, is there a time and place for all these things? Yes. Not in my house.
Yeah.
It's
also, right, the French and the Chassagne Montrachet of the world, the Merceaux, the Bitard Montrachet, those wines are 100% oak 100% of the time. But when you get it, because the wine has such wonderful acidity and terroir and everything, the oak just becomes a pinch of salt in a dish and not just the overall flavor. But man, that why frozen grapes versus grapes in the microwave, that's awesome.
You should try it. Eat them grapes up. They get weird.
That's right. That's weird. All right, we only got a few more minutes here, so I got to ask you, how did you get, your parents are from Brooklyn and you were born in White Plains.
Yeah.
How'd you get to Arizona?
So when I was born, I lived in New York for like 2-3 years, and then my parents moved to New Hampshire. My dad and mom worked. They had very good jobs, entrepreneurs, or they're working at DEC, I think, my old school DEC, and this computer company. And they were like, we want a house with a bunch of acres where we're not going to get bothered. That was my dad's jam. And he would drive 45 minutes and work in Boston and then drive back. Crazy. Because he was like, this is where we want to live. Goffstown, New Hampshire. Okay. So then I remember my dad was looking at his job was going to move him to Virginia or Arizona. So I remember the day my dad said, well, I'm going to Arizona first, and then I'm going to go to Arizona, be back in 2 weeks. And he opened up the door, and I'm maybe 5 or 6. And I remember I opened up the door like this, and there is snow the whole size of the door. And I remember he goes, all right, Channing, I need you to go to the car. So he puts me in this thing with goggles and a shovel, and I'm doing this, creating a tunnel to the car, and he has me do this.
Yeah.
And he was like, just disgusted. So then he flies to Arizona, and I promise you, my dad was like, put your kids on the phone to my mom. And he goes, pack your damn bags. We're out of here. He goes, I just played 2 rounds of golf, and I'm in shorts, and I will never shovel snow again in my life. Pack the house up, sell the car, do this. And literally my mom did all that, and we moved out in like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
He literally flew back, got a bag, got his golf stuff, and whoop, went right back to Arizona and been there since 1989.
Cool. All right. Well,
fuck that snow.
That explains that. And yeah, because your parents had good jobs. Like, you don't just come from anybody. Like, I read that your grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman.
Yeah. My grandpa was a Tuskegee Airman, and then his uncle was a guy named Hugh Molzak, was the first aircraft carrier captain, black aircraft carrier captain, which is an even crazier story. Like, my wife and I have a stupid Wheaton Terrier. He's awesome. And we had to drive 3.5 hours. And so she was asking me about, my family's history, because obviously my parents are dead, my grandparents are dead. So there's not really a lot of people to like imbue history on us. Except for my uncle, who is an FBI agent who has like our whole history. But
well, there you go.
I know, but we called him, and it was like, give us the rundown on the Fries and Molzaks. And so for 2 hours, my Uncle Henry is like, this guy did this, and this guy did this. And, one thing about my grandpa, he loved the attention, but he always reminded us of how hard that was for him, and like how he even got there.
Yeah.
And to just don't take that for granted, and to just, he goes, you wonder why I got all this attention? It's because I got all the wrong kind of attention before, So I was like, well, when you put it that way, chew it up.
That's cool. I'm always just so interested in these things because, like, on paper, you're like, oh, you were a McDonald's All-American, a first-round draft pick, Arizona, but then you look into your history, you see your family you come from, and like the integrity of your family, that really colors what you're doing, and then bring that all the way forward to the wine business and all the stuff you're doing with Chosen, and putting, a black face in the wine business. And there's a lot more black people in the wine business right now, but it's still percentage-wise super slim.
But it's also like people drink with their eyes, and people go, oh, you're Channing Frye, and you have all the money, and throw money at it, and Kevin has money and throw money at it. And so like, but to us, it's almost like I have to double make sure that the wine is better than almost anything you've ever tried before, because you're naturally going to assume I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't have my own vineyard. I don't make the wine. I don't have my W set. So you go, well, why would I trust you? And I go, Well, you just got to trust me. You got to trust that I've done the research, that I read books, that I do want to get my W set. I just have family. Like, I have to talk to a therapist because I get anxiety attacks because I have a job, 4 kids who want to be good at the sport that I'm good at, and there's not enough time unless I take them out of school and make them zombies about basketball, which I don't want to do. Oh, yeah, I have a wife and a regular life, too, and I work across the country, 6,000 miles that I go to every week for the whole basketball season, not including the playoffs, where I stay out whichever side they are. So I love wine. I have podcasts, reading, conversations, drinking, like everything about wine I appreciate. Even the ups and downs about it, I appreciate. But yes, people assume my wine sucks or our wine sucks because this 41-year-old black guy, ex-NBA player, somebody has hurt them before, and now they don't trust me. So try.
Well, formal training, whatever, I can tell by the things you talk about in wine, by the people you associate yourself with. I mean, we met because you paid attention to Jeremy Sayce of the main Dujak that was on the show. It's clear that you're committed to this. And for all the people that think that people need formal education, for some people, yes, that might be true, and I applaud it. But, the funny thing is what defines a sommelier in French is defined by the person who takes care of the wine.
Yeah.
That's it. So we put all this on it and this import, but if you care about wine, you want to learn about wine, just listen to the people who really know. And yes, read the books, and you got to taste the wine.
For sure. Read the book and drink the wine at the same time. That's what I think. So you fall asleep. Then you're like, yes, the best thing ever.
All right. Last question before.
Hi, folks. A quick disclaimer here that these next 2 to 3 minutes are all basketball talk. Channing reveals the behind the scenes of his first 2 years in the NBA. Also, please subscribe on the Wine Centric Show YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. If you could also take a moment to rate and review, that would be glorious. 5 stars, please.
We get you out of here. I'm a Knicks fan.
Okay.
Grew up, he's in 90s Knicks, Mark Jackson, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Charles Oakley, who is actually, I thought what's that?
Big Herb Williams.
Big Herb Williams, man. What a backup.
Coach in New York for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You were a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
You made the first-team all-rookie in your first year, and then the next year they traded you. I know what people write about, Isaiah Thomas was all over the place, whatever, but why did you get traded?
So when I went to the Knicks, they were in a big in-between. That first year with Larry Brown was an absolute shit show. So I'm not going to say that he was sabotaging the team, but to this day, we've had the most starting lineups ever in the history of the NBA. He would start players, even if they just got on a team like a 10-day, in their city.
Yeah.
So imagine you never know if you're starting or not any game, because he wouldn't put the starters up till 40 minutes, right? Secondly, when I came into the NBA, I was a big 4-man who was trying to learn how to guard the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Curry is a true 5-man. That second year I was there in New York, they moved me to a power forward position. So they're like, Channing, stand by the 3-point line and shoot. And I'm like, hold up. Nobody's teaching me. I've never been allowed to shoot threes in my life. Now, was he 3 years ahead of his time? Absolutely. But you can't ask a kid who is just learning how to be an NBA player to now switch a whole position when I've been taught to play with my back to the basket to now face the basket, drive, dribble, do all this. It was a lot for me. It was a lot to ask without the right team concept, right? And coaching. And also I was very immature and wasn't willing, because I was like, dude, I have success. I want to go do what I know works for me. So, I still love Isaiah and talk to him. Obviously, we work at NBA TV together. He saw this and was trying to make sure that I had an opportunity to learn these things. And so he also said, we need to win. And right now, David Lee can play this position, and David ended up being a champion, all-star, whatever. David can play that position, and we need a all-star power forward. So people don't know I got traded for Zach Randolph.
Yeah.
So I'm not, Zach Randolph is very good.
Yeah.
Right. Zebo's good. And when I went to Portland, it changed me because I really learned how to be on a younger team, grind things out. And it gave me 2 years with the right coaching, assistant coaching, not Nate. Nate didn't want me to shoot threes, but the assistant coaches were like, practice this all the time. And when I did it in the game, when I did it, it worked. And then Phoenix said, we've seen you working on it. We want you to do that. They were like, come on over here. And they were like, see this 3-pointer? You shoot 1 trillion of these motherfuckers. And it works. And Steve Knapp, bing, bang, boom, boom, boom. And the rest history.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's cool.
So it wasn't
Good for you.
personal. Like he called me, it was like, explained it. That was probably the least shocking trade. I was like, guys, it just isn't working. Like I'm not who you need right now. So
Yeah.
not who they need.
It's like, let's do something good for both of us.
Exactly. And it works like that. Just got to communicate.
Yeah. It's like wine, right? Like you got to find the right winemaker. You got to find the winemaker that you want and that you guys are aligned in your style and what you want to do. And
also you gotta let them cook.
You gotta let them cook.
You can't get a chef and be hovering over his, hey, do this. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Let them cook and then adjust and grow.
That's right. Well, this has been amazing, man.
Thanks,
I
man.
wish you I love the Chosen Wines, and I am so glad to have met you and been able to drink some of them. I'll be drinking a lot more and
please.
And following your success. And for all of you out there, go get your hands on some Chosen Wine. Visit Willamette Valley. You will drink extremely deliciously.